big numbers, big numbers. 100-minute bag, that's a big number. Big numbers, big numbers. Whole team counted, that's a big number.
Hey, foreign cars, foreign bras, foreign seats with the foreign leather.
These teams that are going to be playing in these games, most of them are going to be already in the playoffs. So some of them might not have the high pass here in sunny Tampa Bay in front of Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hosting Super Bowl 55 this year, hosting WrestleMania hopefully. But we're here. We decided to do something a little bit different today. AC, how do you feel?
Hey, listen, back in Tampa, it's a little bit weird. I mean, obviously, I've been outspoken about my hatred for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so for me to kind of, I don't know if you could say contradict myself, but Tyler and I came up with the idea while we're down here in Tampa. Well, he's always down here, but while the both of us are, why not try to get an episode in front of the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers home stadium? So we both agreed on it. We've had a few run-in with the security guards. We got helicopters going over, people honking, technical difficulties. But one way or another,
we're making it work.
We're going to provide for you. So, Tyler, NFL talk, if you want to get into it.
All right, so NFL talk. We got extended NFL season, J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, NFL draft even. Full-fledged football sports talk today just because we're in front of where the Bucs play. So let's just kick it off. NFL decided to extend the season from 17 weeks to 18 weeks.
I believe they're going to add an extra game. I'm not sure how many weeks they're going to add, whether it be one or two, but it looks like they will be confirmed adding an extra game. I think there are some stipulations if you got the screenshot there. I know one of them was they're going to try to make it interconference between the AFC and NFC.
So they got 17th game will be AFC versus NFC. The divisions involved will be the divisions that played each other 2 years ago, i.e. the 2019 divisional matchups will be the basis of the 17th week in 2021. The 2020 matchups will be Game 17 in 2022 and so on.
Okay.
Like the two interconference games each year, this game will feature teams that finish in the same place in their respective divisions in the previous season. Finally, the AFC team will host all the games in 2021. NFC teams will host all the games in 2022. What's your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, more football on the surface seems better. The only thing is, that kind of makes the NFL great. You know, you like the NBA. I enjoy it, playoff time especially. But sometimes there's just too many games. You know, it's like it's hard to get so involved in the games when they're playing, 3-4 a week. Football, it was so good because they only really played once a week.
Right.
So I don't know if it's going to get too watered down. I know with injuries and everything, especially with COVID, I do like them extending it a little bit just so they have a little bit more freedom to, kind of flip-flop, move some stuff around if need be. But.
Right. Pros, you get more football. Also pros, you get even better football because most of the teams that are going to be playing are conference champions, and usually they don't just go from first to worst in the NFL. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Unless they're the San Francisco 49ers,
right?
Because they jumped off a fucking cliff this year.
I do think that the NFL is searching for more money. They're trying to get more out of it, which I can respect, but you also got to think these teams that are going to be playing in these games, most of them are going to be already in the playoffs, so some of them might not have the high attentive rate that they're going for, like a Packers versus Buccaneers.
Yeah.
It would be AFC versus NFC, so, Packers versus Chiefs.
Per se. I mean, I think that was where
I think it would be Packers versus Bills, technically, right? Because same seedings.
Right.
Where they finished. So, regardless, I don't think we're going to get the attentiveness like they think, but more football is always good for the No Look podcast. We always love talking about the NFL. Hell, we talk about it at least once a week. So
I mean, it'll be interesting to see, is it going to cut into the preseason games? Or are they going
hopefully it does.
If they're going to, I mean, I'd be more in favor of extending it on the front end of the season as opposed to adding an additional week to the end of it. Because, it is tough to play. I mean, as a fan of the Packers, Lambeau gets tough in the wintertime.
Right.
If they're going to be playing in Lambeau mid-January, with the playoffs, if they move it back a week. I don't know how good that'll be.
Obviously,
for the players.
Obviously thinking that, players, but also thinking as a Raiders fan, if we had one more game this season, we might have made the playoffs.
Right.
It could shake out well in my favor as a Raiders fan, or even as a Packers fan. You never know where your team's shaking out at the end of the season, so it could benefit. I just don't think it will. So
yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it's kind of a money grab. I don't know. So what was it you said? They were trying to do the conference champions?
Yeah, so basically
against each other?
Yeah, so conference champions. So maybe it is. So it'd be like the Chiefs or the Bucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, they're gonna try and put teams that were really good last year. I mean, but then you get the stipulation of, well, what happens if you get a team that was going on a miracle run?
Right.
That's gonna be trash next year versus a team it's gonna be a blowout. But we'll see.
I mean, trial and error.
The NBA does it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like that they're kind of being a little innovative. Obviously, the NFL is a long-standing, kind of true to their traditions type league. We've seen the NBA make a lot of changes in the way they do things. I do like them switching it up. I'm not sure if this is the answer, but hell, there's only one way to find out, and they're gonna do that. So I'm in favor of that.
Next up on the agenda, we got J.J. Watt. Big news today as we shoot. J.J. Watt.
Thumbs down.
There was a fake account on a Peloton bike app that J.J. Watt was either choosing between Green Bay, Cleveland, and Buffalo, then comes out and posts himself in a squat rack, probably 5 plates on each side or something, deciding with an Arizona Cardinals shirt that he's going to be the source of where he's going. J.J. Watt joins the Arizona Cardinals. Instant reaction to that. Man, you picked one of the toughest divisions to go to. I mean, you got the Cardinals, the Seahawks if Russell Wilson decides to stay. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The 49ers, who were unhealthy all year, and the Rams, who made a deep playoff run.
Yeah. I mean, for me, instant reaction.
Should have chosen Packers.
Probably, yeah. Well, I was going to say, one, it's crazy that there's a fucking exercise machine social media network that's influencing the free agency and the rumors going on.
Only in 2021.
Only in 2021, excuse me. Kind of lost my train of thought. 2, what was I going to say? Oh, do you think that the whole Peloton thing kind of influenced his expedition of like revealing where he wanted to go? Because he was pretty hidden and kind of reserved on speaking about where he wanted to go. Do you think this like kind of forced his hand, if you will? And
maybe not. Maybe he had it in his reminders today in the iPhone app. Hey, post that picture of me squatting with an Arizona Cardinals shirt on. Now, let's not forget who plays for the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins definitely had a hand in kind of recruiting him there, if you will. Like you said, tough division. I don't know if it's the best fit for him.
It bolsters the Cardinals' defense, though.
Yeah, I mean, they got
Baker.
They got a lot of names there.
Patrick Peterson, Isaiah Simmons, a lot of younger guys. Chandler Jones, who was a sack leader one year, and then you get J.J. Watt on the opposite side. It's kind of scary. I mean, the Cardinals, what they were missing last year was a defense that could stop a lot of it, maybe helping Kyler Murray, score a little bit more and innovate that offense a little bit more with 1 year Tuileage under Cliff Kingsbury, 1 year more with DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk maybe getting a little bit more reps.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it only helps the Cardinals, makes them an even tougher. But fuck, he's playing in the NFC.
Yeah.
And the NFC is no joke. We know that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're trying to almost replicate the Bucs formula.
Right.
The only problem is you don't have Tom Brady. I think Kyler Murray's, he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to have a good career in the NFL. But, playing the whole, kind of older, has-been, injury-prone, high price tag guys and like a win-now mindset, I don't think they're at the win-now stage. Like you said, they have DeAndre Hopkins, but, I mean, a few years from now, I'm not sure where he's going to be. They have younger guys. I feel like they could have developed them a little
They could
better.
also went out and got more guys for the value that they got J.J. Watt at. I mean, 2 years, $31 million is no joke. I mean, that's a hefty price tag for a guy who has considerably cut his season in half every single year from like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Tyler, something popped into my brain as my mind works in mysterious ways, not to interrupt the J.J. Watt talk, but like we're talking about free agents, a big Buccaneers free agent, Chris Godwin. Chris, I'm a Packers fan. I'm down in Tampa Bay. I know you're just coming off that Super Bowl win, but shit, imagine the connection you'd have with Aaron Rodgers. Listen, they're not going to pay you all the money that you want down here in Tampa.
The Bucs might not even.
That's what I'm saying, down here in Tampa. I know you don't have the greatest kind of on-field connection with Brady, but Rodgers can sling it to whoever, wherever. Paired up with Devonta Adams. Come on, man. I'm down here in front of your stadium. I'm pleading for you. Please go to Green Bay.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, another big name guy. You know, he sees J.J. Watt come into the Cardinals. Does that kind of influence his decision to maybe want to get traded out of that Seattle situation? He released the other day, although he doesn't want to be traded from Seattle, he would consider being traded to the following teams. What were the teams? I forgot.
I think last on his list were the Bears, Saints, Cowboys, and there might have been one other one. But
the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah.
Yes.
Who could forget?
I don't forget, because nothing would look better on Russell Wilson than silver and black.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot of times, but do you think he would stay in the division?
I mean, I think it's tough for him. Seattle, I feel like he's kind of stagnant, and kind of like J.J. Watt. He's kind of stagnant in his career right now. He's already won a Super Bowl with Seattle. Seattle doesn't look like they're trying to offer him anything in terms of, well, what are we going to do to get past, so-and-so round of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Every year when they had the Legion of Boom, it was always like, we're going to the Super Bowl or we're not. It's Super Bowl or bust.
Right.
Now, if I were him, as a Raiders fan, and being honest, I think his best position to fit would be the Dallas Cowboys, hands down. With the offense that they have, the young defense that they have, the problem is can they pay the guy?
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Jerry Jones always finds a way. But.
I get that, and I know one place that Austin doesn't want him to go is Chicago Bears. I can guarantee you that.
No, listen, Russell, you don't want to go up there to Chicago. It's terrible. All they got is brats and beers and
chili.
You're not that type of guy, man. You like somewhere a little bit warmer. Hell, New Orleans, Dallas, I'll fucking help you pack your bags if you want to go down there. Even if you want to stay in Seattle, I don't care. But, yeah. As much as I want Chris Godwin on the Packers, I don't want Russell Wilson on the Chicago Bears. Have to face him twice a year. But Tyler, kind of going back to my point of social media in 2021, I'm not sure if I can give social media all the credit per se, but this seemed like one of those things that you heard about it, and then someone caught wind of it, and then people kept talking about it, and then it almost snowballed itself into a real thing.
Yeah, into a real trade that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Which, if you think 20 years ago, someone comparable to Russell Wilson, Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Him coming off that 2004 season, someone could have said, well, imagine Michael Vick on, insert name here, and then Michael Vick has to create something that says, I'm going to stay with the Falcons, although they don't have a team that's going to bring me to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I might consider 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, going back to what I was saying, I think Russell Wilson is kind of more of a guy of honor, respect. So I think at the end of the day, he'll probably end up staying in Seattle.
But let us not forget, he did transfer out of college. He went from NC State to Wisconsin because he knew Wisconsin was going to be a better team for him to win now. So he's a winner. He wants to win. Like I said, I think Dallas is his best bet. The offense there is, when Dak Prescott was healthy, was unstoppable at some points. They were putting up 40-plus a game. Seattle, his best target's Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. But when they shut him down, their defense just isn't the same defense that they had when they were winning Super Bowls.
And that's, obviously I don't want him to go on the
Bears.
Bears.
I got to take the blinders off. It's starting to get a little dark out.
I probably got the marks on my nose somewhere.
It's all good.
Sun did go down, Tyler. We still got a little bit of light.
Luckily,
they got the sign lit up.
Yeah, they lit up the sign for us. Shout out Officer Langdon, by the way, who stopped us in the parking lot. We pleaded with him. to be on this side of the barriers.
Yep.
He said, you know what, for the No Look podcast, for one time, all the lookers out there,
Yep.
we're going to light the sign up for you. It's not like they do it every single night or anything. At least I don't think. No, I'm just fucking.
Who knows? I mean, shit. Dan, let's get someone to edit the No Look logo right above that.
Right here would be ideal.
Right, cover up those phone lines. But don't get off, try not to get off track, because I know I do that a lot to us. Going back to the whole Russell Wilson, I think I'll say, as much as I don't want him to go to the Bears, as much as I would want, as much as a reason why I'd want him to stay in Seattle is because, I do like DK Metcalf, right?
Right.
They're breaking all kinds of records. I think if Russell Wilson leaves, he's probably not the same guy that, at least from a statistic-wise, he's always going to be a freak of nature,
Unless they get, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick in there that's just going to sling 50 balls a game.
Right.
But there is a quarterback looking for a home as of today. That was a killer transition, by the way.
Ooh.
That was nice. Alex Smith,
Yep.
released from the Washington football team. My biggest question is, does he continue playing football?
I don't know. I mean, you can definitely tell the guy's love and passion for the game, because for me, if I was told I might not ever be able to walk again, to go from that to wanting to get out there on the field for a team that, barely made the playoffs, I mean, that guy has a lot of heart, determination, grit, if you will.
Best story in all of NFL history, I would have to say.
Oh, yeah, crazy, his whole story, but I don't know. What do you think, Tyler? Is he still a starting quarterback in the league? You think someone would pay him? I feel like, from my perspective, he could be good at locker room presence.
Right.
I feel like that's almost what the Washington football team wanted him to do with Dwayne Haskins, and then he comes in and starts for him. But
right.
What do you think?
I think he's a good backup quarterback somewhere. I don't think he still has. The problem is, we'll talk about this a little bit later with the NFL draft. There's just so many quarterbacks that are going to come in and that are already out there that are still better than him, I think.
Yeah.
And I think Alex Smith had that one season with the Washington football team that was kind of like that comeback story. The thing that will be that will change the game forever. This guy came back from almost not even having a fucking leg at one point.
Right.
And it was a great story, but sometimes things like that expire, unfortunately, and I think that Alex Smith knows that. And I think, honestly, internally, I think what happened was the Washington football team and Alex Smith decided, you know what, let's just part ways mutually. I think it's good for the both of us. We're going to go after a younger quarterback, and hopefully it works out. If I were the Washington football team, I'd try and keep him as a backup, kind of like a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, I was just going to say, and you were kind of alluding to that point earlier, not every story has a happy ending.
Right.
Fucked up by the Washington football team on their part, because this guy is out here literally risking his life for you, giving it all on the field. For you to not, I mean, I don't know for sure. I haven't seen any articles or anything yet, but from my knowledge, unless something comes out, for you guys to not even offer him any sort of, position, like, hey, we want to keep you around here, around these guys, they've obviously come to your, backed you up, come to your aid and whatnot. You control the locker room. These guys respect you. For them to not want to keep him around in some capacity, I don't know. That kind of doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I feel like they could have easily found a position for him, but that doesn't mean that there's not 29 other teams that could find a potential fit for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at it, guys get injured, especially with the shortened season with COVID.
Yep.
They were interjecting players in. I mean, shit, he could find himself next year on a team that lost a quarterback like the Cowboys. Dak Prescott went down. Then they had to go to Andy Dalton, who was supposedly the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Didn't really do that because then, he got injured. And, they could have used a guy like Alex Smith. I think there's a place for Alex Smith in the NFL. I think they'll find it. It's just time, really, for him. He's going to be patient. Maybe not sign with the first team that offers you money.
Yeah.
Because it could be the Jets.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I hope to God he isn't, like I said, he loves the game. He wants to keep playing, but I hope he's just not, going to jump at any opportunity, because for me, that would just be a waste of his time. I don't know. Hey, maybe he goes to the Jets and he turns into a fucking quarterbacks coach and, that starts his coaching career. Who knows? I've seen crazier stuff happen. But speaking of the Jets and shitty teams. I know we were mentioning the NFL draft. Looks like you got something pulled up.
Oh, I got it pulled up.
Of a mock draft.
Mock draft, according to CBS. Before we were having technical difficulties, I was reading a little bit into it.
Mm-hmm.
They have 5 quarterbacks going in the first 10 picks, which I think is, I don't think that's ever, that probably has happened. I'm not going to check this. Someone check the stats, but
I feel like there was a time there was just like a quarterback craze. Now it's kind of transition. You see a lot more defensive guys,
a lot of
offensive
wide receivers
linemen.
now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd be
a lot of offensive linemen too. Like you always see offensive linemen first 5 picks, first 10 picks, just because you want to bolster down your offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't think last year though they maybe had like 1 quarterback going the first round, so you've been kind of getting away from it. But
first 10 picks at least.
Right, but this year, I think last year we were talking about the NFL draft. This was the year everybody was waiting for quarterbacks, obviously highlighted by Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of guys that came out of the woodwork this year. Shortened season in football, a lot of teams not playing their full schedule.
Yeah.
A lot of guys sitting out this year, only playing 1 game, but now they're basing it off their previous season stats. So my thing is it's more of like a risk-reward type situation where a lot of these guys, can you trust them? Right.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, it was hard to get a good read on people, or quarterbacks, I should say, from the college football season. You had Mac Jones pop up, and then he popped up in that locker room photo, which, it could be the second coming of Tom Brady. But, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be one of those weird years. I mean, Lawrence still hasn't even declared yet for the draft, has
he?
He
did.
He did?
He came out with an official video basically stating how he loves Clemson. He's graduating. I think he's graduating with like a master's degree or something like that. But, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
First overall, Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, no surprise. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Is it a good fit with Urban Meyer? I don't know. That Jacksonville Jaguars team is depleted.
Garbage.
They traded literally everybody. They do have a lot of draft picks though, so maybe they'll invest in this year and next year's draft. Do you have any thoughts on it? I'm gonna do top 10, and then I'm gonna do our favorite teams.
Yeah. No, the only thing I'll say is I am interested to see how Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Because. I mean, Urban Meyer, he was in the NFL a long time ago, right? I don't know if he was ever a head coach.
Yeah, no, he's never a head coach. But
I mean, I'm interested because obviously he's better known for his college coaching.
Right.
To take a guy right out of college who's, rookie season, technically could have played another year in college. I'm interested to see how he kind of grows his career and grooms him into the quarterback, because they could have, a Brady-Belichick type relationship. Together from the beginning, and I don't know.
One thing that I will say is, and I'm reading it right here, Trevor Lawrence, and I wasn't knowledgeable about this, but coming off of a shoulder surgery too.
Okay.
So a little bit even of a bigger risk, I would say. But all right, one question for sure. Do you think he starts the whole entire season, or do you think they sit him the first few games?
No, I mean, I think they'll start with someone else, and I think he'll come in later on.
Yeah.
It seems what, for the most types of those situations, I feel like they want to we don't want to start him right away, and then the other guy, the alternative, just
have a David
good.
Carr-like thing with the Texans back in 2002.
Yeah.
Next quarterback off the board is actually the second pick that they say, Zach Wilson out of BYU, who only played 1 game this year for BYU, and going to the Jets.
I mean, could he be the next Kyrie? Kyrie didn't play at all in college, really. No one knew what he was going to do in the NBA. Now we see the all-star NBA champion that he is. I don't know too much about this guy, Tyler.
I just know that he throws a lot. BYU's offense is primarily like an air raid offense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too big on BYU ever since Jimmer was there, but it's the Jets. That's all I really have to say. They already have Sam Darnold. What are they going to do with him? They do have a decent line. If I were the Jets, though, what I will say is I would go after a lineman personally, or even a skills position player to help that offense out. I think Sam Darnold's not a bad quarterback. I think you give him a even better offensive line, maybe sign some guys in free agency or sign some defensive players in free agency. You might have yourself a little decent year. I mean, you're not winning the AFC East, but
no, might be able to beat the Patriots again, even though they're not the same Patriots without Tom Brady. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like you said, this was a big coveted quarterback class. Now you didn't really get to see, like the guy we were just talking about played one game this season, so it's going to be a lot more reliant on, the combine, a lot of private workouts. We'll see what happens.
I mean, the Jets have a lot of picks. So are the Jets going to Jets, or are they going to come out and, actually get guys that they need, technically? Because Sam Darnold was, if I'm correct, a first round draft pick.
Yeah, first round.
So next we have Jamar Chase, first wide receiver off the board.
Do we want to talk all the first 10, or we just want to get in the quarterbacks?
We could do the quarterbacks.
We're running out of daylight. We know how much storage we got. If we get a good half-hour episode, I'd be super content.
Okay, Jamar Chase to the Dolphins via the Houston Texans. Next quarterback, though, Justin Fields, who some would say had the best college playoffs this year. Obviously didn't win it, but played in the national championship against Alabama. The game against Clemson, everybody was saying how he had so much grit and everything. I'm not sure how he's going to fit in this Atlanta Falcons offense, per se, but I think it's a great looking forward after Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with someone like that. And where I was talking about before, a lot of people, their draft stock got hurt by not being able to showcase their skills. This guy's draft stock skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Ohio State playing in the college football playoffs. This dude went on a complete tear. They upset Clemson. If you call that an upset, I guess some people do, some people don't.
I mean, this guy went from late first round to top 5 draft pick.
Right. Usually, those type of players, something that's like such a drastic move just based off a couple of games, I would be a little bit more hesitant. I mean, you see all these guys watching film on players. You don't want to just make an impatient choice and just say, oh, this guy had 2 good games against some good teams. That's who we want. I don't know, but...
Yeah. Well, next quarterback off the board, pick 6, Mac Jones out of Alabama. Obviously won the national championship this year. I mean, I feel like any Alabama quarterback, though, or any quarterback in the NCAA could have won with that team. Their offense was unreal. Their defense is always stacked. Mm-hmm. I think this is a little bit of a stupid pick by the Eagles that they're saying, because they already have Jalen Hurts. If I was them, I would go after the guy that they have 7th in Jaylen Waddle out of Alabama. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the best wide receivers of this class. Some would say Devontae Smith, but I'm saying Jaylen Waddle after watching the film. I saw a TikTok on him. This guy's a fucking beast. Even though he's 5'10", he has route moves similar to Antonio Brown in his prime. I'm not a big fan of this pick. This is probably the worst pick you could have if you're the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't like the pick. For the Eagles, my thinking is the Eagles don't hold on to this pick. I think they kind of move it, maybe drop back later in the round, gain a second or third, try to add a little bit more depth. Like you said, Devontae Smith, is that his name?
Yeah.
Obviously, he would be an ideal pick. But with that being said, if you could get, 2 wide receivers, for a later round, late first round, an additional second round, that might be the play there. Still
you
get
can
some
get a lot
value.
of good guys out of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds. I mean, Alvin Kamara was like a 5th round draft pick, and now he's a starting running back. Probably some would say the best player in the NFL, a.k.a. me.
It's coming from a Raiders fan, too.
Yeah.
So.
The last quarterback in the top 10, rounding out the quarterbacks, is Trey Lance. Going to Carolina, he's out of North Dakota State. I'm not too privy on this guy. A lot of them are saying that he's like Carson Wentz, obviously, because they come from the same school.
Right.
Also out of an FCS school. Kind of a high risk, low reward, or what is it? High risk, high reward, low risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so high risk, high
Pretty
reward.
volatile type guy.
Yeah.
He can give you, it could be the hidden gem you want, or he could just be a piece of fucking coal. I don't know. I feel like we saw what happened with Carson Wentz. Yeah, there are some D3 guys that come in, have an impact, have good careers. This guy is what, D1 AA or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't
FCS,
know.
which is just below Division One.
I wouldn't want my team to draft someone.
Well, if I'm Carolina, if I'm going back to what Austin said, I'm going after Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You know, as simple as that. And if I'm not getting Deshaun Watson, I'm staying with Teddy Bridgewater. A lot of people don't think he's that great.
Yeah.
I think he's a decent fit, especially if you have a healthy C-Mac. You know, add on to the skill positions, add on to the defense. They have a great young team.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is the move. You know?
Hey, I don't know. Like we were saying earlier, you kind of might be transitioning back to that quarterback frenzy draft meta, if you will. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more options.
My prediction out of the first 10, though, I think there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks drafted.
I think it'll change up.
I think it's going to change up drastically. I think obviously Trevor Lawrence, and I think Zach Wilson at BYU. I don't think Justin Fields is going to get drafted in the top 10. Neither would Trey Lance. I think this is kind of a quarterback-heavy first round that they're giving us. But the Las Vegas pick that they're predicting, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, which is a fucking electric name, out of Notre Dame, linebacker. We need all the defense we can get. If John Gruden trusts this guy, I trust this guy. If there's anything John Gruden knows besides quarterbacks, it's defensive players. I mean, shit, he led the Bucs to a Super Bowl with one of the best defensive teams. Granted, it was Tony Dungy's, but I would be okay with that. I would also be okay with getting more wide receivers for Derek Carr to throw to, unless we get Russell Wilson.
All right, of course. It's a little like unless we get Russell Wilson.
Yeah. But the Packers pick 29, late pick. Levi Anawazuriki, definitely butchered that. Sorry, pal. Defensive lineman out of Washington. They have Kenny Clark, right?
Yeah. Just paid him a lot of money. I mean, they're talking about, they have Tyler Lancaster, Dean Lowry. Not too much depth there. They kind of put all their money into the Smith bros on the outside. I don't know. I mean, fuck. They need a lot of... they need some help in certain situations. But as we saw last year in the draft, instead of going after the positions in need, they trade up for a quarterback. So I wouldn't be surprised, Tyler, if they trade up for a left tackle, even though they already have David Bakhtiari.
He was injured.
He was injured, but, still probably, if not the best, top 3 left tackles in the league. I don't know. I just hope they figure out Aaron Rodgers' contract, keep him in, and try to get him some help.
Ideally, you would want what?
I'd say it depends. I mean, they definitely still need a good support wide receiver. And then for me, D-line I wouldn't hate, or a good secondary cornerback.
Especially after the way Kevin King performed against the Bucs.
He got exposed. There's
Mike,
no way around
Mike
it.
Evans literally took Kevin King's pants down and was
and Scotty Miller.
and Scotty Miller. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But sun's going down.
Yep. We might have to wrap it up.
It was a beautiful day out here in front of Raymond James. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Our 3rd ever live No Look podcast. Obviously look forward to having more live ones in the future. First we had Key West, then we had the Insane Game Studio, 9,000 square feet, and now we got Raymond James. Who knows where we'll be next?
Hey, listen, we're on the move. We might pop up in your city, so stay tuned. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Get the merch.
And as always, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Love you.
Later.